July 8, 1961. The Chateau Marmont Hotel. 11:47 p.m. Marilyn Monroe stood in the dimly lit hallway on the second floor, staring at the brass numbers on the door in front of her. 29. She'd been to the Chateau Marmont dozens of times. It was Hollywood's favorite hideaway, where stars came to escape, to have affairs, to do things they didn't want photographed. The hotel staff were famous for their discretion. What happened at the chateau stayed at the chateau, but she'd never been to room 29, had never even noticed it before tonight. It was at the end of a hallway that most guests never walked down, away from the main stairs, away from the lobby, away from prying eyes, perfect for secrets. The key in her hand felt heavy. She'd found it in her mailbox that afternoon. No note, no explanation. Just a key with a room number stamped on the tag, 29. She should have thrown it away. Should have ignored it. Should have known this was a trap or a trick or something. Dangerous, but she hadn't, because along with the key was a photograph. Old, faded, from 1946, a photograph she thought had been destroyed years ago. A photograph that showed Norma Jean Baker, before she became Marilyn Monroe, in a moment she'd spent 16 years trying to forget. And on the back of the photograph, written in unfamiliar handwriting, Room 29, 11:30 p.m. Come alone, or everyone sees this. Blackmail, classic, simple, effective. So here she was, standing outside Room 29, about to walk into whatever trap had been set for her. Because she had no choice. That photograph couldn't go public. It would destroy everything. Her career, her carefully constructed image, her life. She put the key in the lock, turned it. The door opened. The room was dark. She reached for the light switch. "Don't," a voice said from the darkness. Male, unfamiliar. "Close the door. Leave the lights off." Marilyn's heart raced. Every instinct screamed at her to run. But she thought about the photograph, about what would happen if it went public, about having no choice. She stepped inside, closed the door behind her, stood in the darkness trying to see who was there. "Who are you?" she asked. "What do you want?" "I want to tell you a story," the voice said, "about what really happened in this room. Room 29, 20 years ago. Before you were Marilyn Monroe. Before you were anybody. I don't understand. You will. Sit down." There was a chair near the door. Marilyn sat. Her eyes were adjusting to the darkness. She could make out a figure across the room, sitting on the bed, but she couldn't see his face. "This room," the voice continued, "has a history. A dark history. A history that the hotel doesn't advertise, that most people don't know about. But I know. Now you're going to know too. Why? Why me? Because what happened in room 29 20 years ago is connected to you, to who you are, to who you were before you became Marilyn Monroe. And it's time you knew the truth." Marilyn gripped the arms of the chair. "What truth?" "The truth about your mother." And in that moment, everything changed. Because what the man in room 29 was about to reveal would shatter everything Marilyn thought she knew about her past. The man struck a match, lit a candle on the nightstand. In the flickering light, Marilyn could finally see him. Older, maybe 60, thin, gray hair, tired eyes. He didn't look dangerous. He looked sad. "My name is Edward," he said. "I was the night manager here in 1941, 20 years ago. And I was working the night your mother, Gladys, checked into room 29. Marilyn's breath caught. Her mother, Gladys Baker, the woman who'd been institutionalized when Marilyn was a child. The woman who'd never been able to care for her. The woman Marilyn knew so little about. "My mother was here?" "She was. June 1941. She checked in alone. Asked specifically for room 29. Said it had to be this room. No other. I thought it was strange, but we gave her what she wanted. That's what we do here. Discretion, no questions." "Why room 29? Edward looked around the room. "Because this room has a secret. Something most people don't know. Come here, let me show you." He stood, walked to the wall beside the bathroom, pressed on a section of the wallpaper. A panel swung open, revealing a hidden space. Not large, maybe 3 feet by 3 feet. Big enough to hide something, or someone. "The hotel was built during Prohibition," Edward explained. "Hidden spaces like this were common, places to hide alcohol, or people who didn't want to be seen. Most have been sealed up over the years, but not this one. Room 29's secret has been kept intact." Marilyn stood, walked closer, looked into the hidden space. It was empty now. Just dusty floorboards and old wallpaper. "What does this have to do with my mother?" "Your mother came here that night, checked into this room, And she wasn't alone. There was someone with her. Someone who couldn't be seen entering the hotel. Someone who needed to hide, so they used this space, this secret, this room. Who? Who was with her? Edward pulled out an old photograph, handed it to Marilyn. Even in the candlelight, she could see it clearly. Her mother, young, beautiful, and standing next to her, a man, handsome, smiling, his arm around Gladys. Marilyn didn't recognize him. Who is this? That's Charles Stanley Gifford, your father. The room spun. Marilyn sat down hard on the bed. My father? But I don't know who my father is. My mother never told me. I've spent my whole life not knowing. She never told you because telling you would have been dangerous. For you, for her, for him. Because Charles Stanley Gifford wasn't just any man. He was married, wealthy, connected to powerful people. And if it had come out that he'd had an affair with Gladys, that she'd gotten pregnant, that he'd refused to acknowledge the child, it would have ruined him. So what happened in this room? Edward sat back on the bed. Your mother came here to meet him. One last time. She brought you. You were just a baby, 15 months old. She wanted him to see you, to acknowledge you, to give you his name, to take responsibility. Marilyn's eyes filled with tears. And did he? He came. Through the hidden entrance. At midnight, so no one would see him. And for 2 hours they were in this room. Your mother, your father, and you. What happened? I don't know exactly. I wasn't in the room. But I heard shouting, heard your mother crying, heard him yelling. And then around 2 a.m. he left, through the hidden door. And your mother stayed. She stayed in this room for 3 days. Just sitting here, holding you, crying. On the 4th day, she checked out. And a week later, she had her breakdown. The one that led to her being institutionalized. The one that meant you grew up in foster homes. Because she couldn't take care of you anymore. Couldn't take care of herself. Edward looked at Marilyn with deep sadness. That night in room 29 broke her. Whatever happened between her and your father, whatever he said, whatever he refused to do, it destroyed her. And in destroying her, it destroyed your childhood too. Marilyn was crying now, full heaving sobs, all the years of not knowing, of wondering who her father was, of feeling abandoned, of growing up unwanted. All of it came flooding back. Why are you telling me this now? Why blackmail me to get me here? Because, Edward said gently, there's more. Something else happened in this room that night. Something your mother left behind. Something hidden in that secret space. Something meant for you. He reached into the hidden compartment, pulled out a small metal box, handed it to Marilyn. She hid this the morning before she checked out. Made me promise never to tell anyone, never to remove it, to wait, to see if you'd ever find your way here, and if you did, to give it to you. Marilyn took the box with shaking hands. How did you know I'd come? I didn't, but I'm dying. Cancer, 6 months left. And I couldn't let your mother's secret die with me. So I sent you the key, sent the photograph, brought you here, so you could finally know, finally understand. But wait, because what was inside that box would reveal an even bigger secret. One that would change everything Marilyn thought she knew about herself. Marilyn opened the box with trembling fingers. Inside was a letter, yellowed with age, written in her mother's handwriting. My dearest Norma Jean, it began. Marilyn's breath hitched. Her real name, the name before Marilyn Monroe, the name her mother had given her. She read, if you're reading this, you're old enough to know the truth, old enough to understand, old enough to make your own choices about what to do with this information. Your father's name is Charles Stanley Gifford. He was my supervisor at Consolidated Film Industries. We fell in love, or I thought we did. When I told him I was pregnant with you, he told me to get rid of it. Said he was married, said his career would be ruined, said he wanted nothing to do with me or the baby, but I couldn't. I couldn't get rid of you. You were mine. You were loved. Even if he didn't want you, I did. I brought you to this room when you were 15 months old. I tracked him down, begged him to meet me, to see you, to help us. We didn't need much. Just his name, just acknowledgement, just something to make your life easier. He came. Through the secret door, because he couldn't be seen with us. Couldn't risk anyone knowing about his illegitimate child. He looked at you. You were beautiful even then. Blonde curls, blue eyes, bright smile. You reached for him. Called him Dada because you didn't know any better. And do you know what he said? He said, this isn't my child. I don't know this baby, and if you ever try to contact me again, I'll make sure you lose her. I'll make sure she goes to an orphanage and you never see her again. He left, and I broke. Right here in this room. Broke in a way I never recovered from, because I realized that the world doesn't care about people like us. About unmarried mothers. About illegitimate children. About women who fall in love with the wrong men. I tried to keep you. Tried to be a good mother. But the breakdown was too severe. The depression too deep. They took you away, put you in foster care. And I couldn't stop them. Couldn't save you. Couldn't protect you from the same cruel world that had rejected us both. But I want you to know something, Norma Jean. Something important. Something you must never forget. You are not illegitimate. You are not unwanted. You are not a mistake. You are loved. By me, always. Even when I couldn't show it. Even when I was locked away. Even when I couldn't be the mother you deserved. And one day, when you're old enough, when you're strong enough, I want you to find your father. Not to beg, not to ask for anything, but to show him what he lost, to show him who you became. To prove that his rejection didn't destroy you. You are destined for greatness, my darling girl. I can feel it. You are going to be somebody. Somebody important. Somebody the whole world will know. And when that happens, when you're famous and successful and everything I dreamed you'd be, I want you to remember this. You did it without him. You did it despite him. You did it because of the strength you inherited from me. From generations of women who survived, who persevered, who refused to be defeated by men who didn't value them. In this box, you'll find his information, his address, his workplace, everything you need to find him. What you do with that information is up to you. But know this, you owe him nothing. He gave you nothing. He is nothing to you. You are wholly, completely, entirely mine. And you are perfect. I love you, Norma Jean. I always have. I always will, even if I can't show it. Even if I'm too broken to be the mother you need. My love is there. In this letter. In this room. In the choice I made to keep you when everyone said I shouldn't. Be great, my darling. Be everything I couldn't be. And remember, you are not defined by who rejected you. You are defined by who you become, despite that rejection. Your mother, Gladys Marilyn, finished reading. Tears streaming down her face. Hands shaking. Heartbreaking and healing simultaneously. Edward sat quietly, waiting. After a long moment, he spoke. There's more in the box. Marilyn looked. Under the letter was a photograph. Her father, Charles Stanley Gifford. An address, a phone number. All the information she'd ever wanted. All the answers she'd spent her life searching for. He's still alive, Edward said. Still married. Still successful. Still pretending he never had a daughter named Norma Jean Baker. Never had a responsibility he walked away from. Never broke a woman in room 29 of the Chateau Marmont. Does he know? About Marilyn Monroe? About who I became? Everyone knows who Marilyn Monroe is. But I doubt he's made the connection. Norma Jean Baker disappeared into foster care. Marilyn Monroe appeared from nowhere. Why would he think they're the same person? Marilyn looked at the photograph of her father. Tried to feel something, anger, hurt, longing, but all she felt was emptiness. This man meant nothing to her. Had given her nothing. Was nothing. What am I supposed to do with this? She asked. That's up to you. Your mother left you the choice. You can confront him, tell him who you are, make him face what he walked away from. Or you can do nothing. Let him die never knowing that the daughter he rejected became the most famous woman in the world. Marilyn thought about it. About confronting him. About seeing his face when he realized. About making him regret his choice. But then she thought about her mother. About the pain that night in this room had caused her. About how confrontation hadn't healed anything. Had only made things worse. No, she said finally. I don't need his acknowledgement. I don't need his regret. I don't need anything from him. My mother was right. I did it without him, and that's enough. She put the letter back in the box, put the photograph on top of it, closed it, handed it back to Edward. Keep it, or destroy it. I don't want it. Are you sure? I'm sure. The only thing I needed was the truth, and now I have it. Everything else is just noise. Edward took the box. Your mother would be proud of you, of who you became, of how you survived despite everything. Would she? She doesn't even know who Marilyn Monroe is. She's still institutionalized, still broken, still trapped in whatever hell her mind created after that night. Maybe. But somewhere inside, I think she knows. I think she sees the magazine covers, the movies, the fame, and I think she knows that's her Norma Jean, her daughter, The one she loved enough to keep when everyone said she shouldn't. Marilyn stood. I need to leave. This room? I can't stay here. Too much pain. Too much history. But before she could go, Edward stopped her. Wait, there's one more thing. Something I need to tell you about what really happened that night. Something your mother didn't put in the letter because it was too painful. Something I only learned later. And what Edward revealed next would change everything Marilyn believed about that night in room 29. Your father didn't come alone that night, Edward said. Marilyn turned back. What? Charles Stanley Gifford. He didn't come to room 29 alone. He brought someone with him, through the hidden entrance. Someone who witnessed the whole confrontation. Someone who heard everything. Who? A lawyer. His lawyer. A man named Harrison Webb. He came to ensure that if your mother made any legal demands, if she tried to force your father to take responsibility, they'd be prepared. They'd have a legal strategy. They'd be protected. Marilyn's stomach turned. He brought a lawyer to meeting his 15-month-old daughter. Yes, and that lawyer took notes of everything said. Everything that happened. Created a legal record, in case your mother ever tried to sue for paternity or child support. And those notes still exist. In a file at Webb's law firm. A file labeled Gifford Matter, Room 29. A file that proves everything. That Charles Stanley Gifford knew about you, refused to acknowledge you, threatened your mother, abandoned his child. Why are you telling me this? Because Harrison Webb is retired now, but his firm still exists. And that file is still in their archives, locked away, forgotten, but real. Documentary proof of what happened in this room. Of who your father is, of what he did. Why would I want that? I just said I don't need his acknowledgement. You don't. But Norma Jean Baker might. The child who grew up in foster homes. Who was told she was unwanted. Who spent her whole life wondering why her father abandoned her. That child deserves to know it wasn't her fault. That he was just a coward. That the rejection had nothing to do with her worth and everything to do with his weakness. Marilyn sat back down. You want me to get that file? I'm saying it exists. What you do with that information is your choice. But I thought you should know. Your mother left you truth in a letter. But there's legal truth too. Official truth. The kind that can't be denied or dismissed. The kind that proves you didn't imagine it. Weren't making it up. Weren't just a troubled child with abandonment issues. It proves you had a father who chose not to be a father. And sometimes knowing that for certain, having that validation, it can heal something nothing else can. Marilyn thought about all the years of therapy. All the times she'd been told her abandonment issues came from nowhere. That she was imagining rejection. That she needed to get over it. Move on. Stop letting the past define her. But the past did define her. Because the past was real. The rejection was real. The abandonment was real. And having proof of that, having documentation that it actually happened, that she wasn't crazy or oversensitive or dramatic, maybe that did matter. How do I get this file? Edward smiled sadly. You're Marilyn Monroe. You can get anything you want. Call the law firm. Tell them you're researching your family history. Ask for any files related to Charles Stanley Gifford and Gladys Baker. They'll search. They'll find it. And they'll give it to you because you're famous and powerful and people do what you ask. And if they refuse, then you tell them who you are, who your mother is, who your father is, and you threaten to sue for the file under discovery. You threaten to make it all public. You threaten to expose Charles Stanley Gifford as a man who abandoned his famous daughter. Blackmail. Justice. Finally, after 20 years, Marilyn took the information. The law firm name. The file name. Everything she needed. Why are you helping me? She asked. What do you get out of this? Edward's eyes filled with tears. Peace. Your mother asked me to keep her secret, to wait for you, to help you if you ever came. And I did, for 20 years. And now I can die knowing I kept my promise, that I helped her daughter find the truth. That room 29 secret finally served its purpose. Marilyn stood, walked to the door, stopped. Thank you for keeping your promise, for caring about her, for caring about me. Your mother was special. Broken, yes, but special. And you're special too, not because you're Marilyn Monroe, but because you're Gladys Baker's daughter. And that means something. That means you come from strength, from survival, from women who endure. Marilyn left room 29, walked down the hallway, out of the Chateau Marmont, into the warm Los Angeles night. And she never went back to room 29, never spoke about what happened there, Never told anyone about the letter. The secret, the truth that became her forbidden secret. The thing she knew but couldn't share. The history that explained so much, but that revealing would destroy the carefully constructed illusion of Marilyn Monroe. Because Marilyn Monroe didn't have a past, didn't have pain, didn't have a mother in an institution and a father who'd rejected her in a hotel room 20 years ago. Marilyn Monroe was pure fantasy, pure present, pure performance. And introducing her real past, her real pain, her real origin story would shatter that fantasy. So she kept the secret of room 29, kept her mother's letter locked away, kept the truth about her father to herself. But she did get the file, called the law firm, used her fame, her power, her name, and they found it. Gifford Matter, room 29. Everything Edward had said, documented, proven, real. She read it once. Every page, every note, every cold, calculated strategy to avoid responsibility for a child, to protect a man's reputation, to abandon a woman and baby without consequences. And then she locked it away, with her mother's letter, in a safe deposit box. Evidence, proof, truth, but truth she never shared, never used, never weaponized, because some truths are too painful to make public. Some secrets are too personal to become gossip. Some wounds are too deep to expose for the entertainment of others. What happened in room 29 remained a forbidden secret, known only to Marilyn, to Edward until he died 6 months later, to the ghosts of her mother and father, to the walls of that hidden space where a woman's heart had broken and a child's fate had been sealed. Room 29 at the Chateau Marmont still exists. You can rent it. Stay there, sleep in the same space where Gladys Baker cried for 3 days, where Charles Stanley Gifford rejected his daughter, where Marilyn Monroe learned the truth about her origin. The hotel doesn't advertise the room's history, doesn't mention what happened there, just calls it a charming room with historical significance. But those who know, know. Those who've studied Marilyn's life, who've pieced together fragments of her past, who understand that she had secrets even fame couldn't erase. They know about room 29. And sometimes, late at night, hotel staff report strange things about that room. Sounds of crying, the sense of someone sitting in the dark, the feeling of old pain lingering in the walls. Maybe it's just imagination. Maybe it's just the power of knowing a sad story happened there. Maybe it's nothing. Or maybe it's Gladys, still in that room, still waiting, still hoping her daughter will come back. We'll understand. We'll forgive her for being too broken to be a mother, for being too damaged to protect her child, for choosing to keep her when she couldn't care for her instead of giving her up to someone who could. Marilyn Monroe never went back to room 29 after that night in 1961. But sometimes, friends said she'd mention it, in passing. When she was drunk or sad or vulnerable, I learned the truth in a hotel room, she'd say, about where I came from, about why I was unwanted, about what breaks people. And I can never go back to that room, can never face what happened there. Because knowing the truth didn't heal me. It just made me understand how deep the wound goes. And then she'd change the subject, smile, become Marilyn again. The fantasy, the illusion, the performance, but the forbidden secret remained, locked in a safe deposit box, hidden in her heart, buried in room 29, waiting, like all secrets do, for the time when they can finally be told, when the people involved are dead and the truth can't hurt anyone anymore.